I'm Laurna from Korean with Love and I'm a trained carrying consultant. So this year for World Breastfeeding Week we're going to look at feeding in various slings. Today we're going to look at feeding in a ring sling. So this is Starry Night Amira, which is a linen blend, and it's a beautiful light ring sling with the Starry Night pattern. So for an older child we're going to look at an upright feed, which is loosening, lowering them down and letting them feed, and then after a feed you always reposition back into the upright position. So I'm going to support his bum and I'm going to hold on to this top ring, and I'm just going to loosen it slightly. He's hungry so he's leaning back a bit. So I'm just loosening him down a wee bit. And if you feel that there's too much slack, just tighten it up a wee bit because you don't want baby to kick out position. So I'm just going to turn around the latch on. Okay. So that's him feeding in the upright position. So for an upright position, the bum is nice and low and the knees are still high. So you've got that nice seated position, so baby's nice and comfy and their spine is upright. So they're not leaning too much. They can lean slightly depending on your body position, but this is the upright position. You want both hands to cup the breast at either side for comfort. The fabric does not come over their face or behind their head. You have a hand to support at all times. For older children with full head control, you don't need to support their heads because they're doing it themselves. But it's nice to give them a wee bit of support so if they get sleepy, they don't flop back. For smaller babies, you must always support their head. So from about 4 or 5 months old, when they're getting a wee bit of more head control, then you can start upright feeding, but you must always support the back of their head, but not too much that they can't latch on and off. So they have full control. Okay? So once baby's finished, then you would reposition them. So just going to let him have a feed for a moment. So once baby has finished, then you reposition. So I'm just going to bring him up to the height again, keeping that bottom hem nice and tight under his bum, and then just tighten as you normally would with your ring sling. Oh, pardon you. There you go. Okay. So always reposition after a feed so that baby's upright. So especially if they've got any reflux or any wind, it'll help them get that out. And you can easily wind baby when you're on the go. And the gravity will help all that milk come down. So especially if you're going to be feeding them in a cradle position, putting them upright can help. The heat of your belly can help soothe any bowel movements to let them come down as well, and all the milk is going to flow down into their stomach as opposed to lying back and causing reflux. Okay? So next one we're going to look at is the cradle position. So this is the position most people prefer to feed in, and it's great for smaller babies. So for newborns, up to whatever you're comfortable feeding in that position is what I would use. I used to feed him in cradle position in a ring sling a lot when he was a newborn because it was great, especially running after big sister. So for the cradle position, so I'm going to feed on this side again first. So I'm going to support his bum, I'm going to lift those rings, and then I'm putting my hand in to support his bum. So one hand is supporting his bum, the other is supporting his head. So for smaller babies, support the back of their head and their shoulders. For older babies, you just need to support their shoulder area. So I'm going to scoop him into the cradle position. Wow! And then you want to ensure that the fabric cups under the bum. So just like that. And those legs are together so the fabric is between you and baby. And then you can tighten up a wee bit again if you want. So then you would latch baby on. So I've just had a feed, so I'm not going to latch him on again, but you would ensure that those hands Cup the breast. Oh, I know. I know. Do you want some more? Okay. Okay. Always happy to demonstrate this boy. Yeah. So the hands are cupping the breast, either side. The fabric is supporting under the neck, but not over the neck and not over the head. So even with an older child in this position, you want to offer head support. So even though they've got full head control, it's hard when they're getting sleepy and feeding to keep their head up. So you can either use your hand in this position, okay, or you can use the crook of your elbow, whatever's more comfortable to you. What do you think? And ensure nothing is covering baby's face so you can see them free and clear, so if they latch off or they fall asleep, you can see. And it's also lovely to watch your baby and have a wee feed. Yes, it is. Funny. So if you feel like you want a wee bit of more support, you can tuck the tail underneath and just tuck it under there and just hold his legs in place. So that's good for older babies. So for smaller babies you might not need some support. Or you can tighten that bottom hem again to hold the knees up. Yes. So we're going to let him finish and then we'll reposition again. So once baby's finished, oops, milk and crackers. So we're going to reposition. So I'm putting my hand in to scoop that bum, support the back of the neck and shoulders, and scoop back up into position. So any slack under the bum here, I'm pushing under the bum. That's a good story. And then, just as before, you would tighten everything up in your ring sling as you normally would, and fix your clothes as well. Okay, so obviously it's easy enough to feed on the side that baby is. Feeding on the opposite side is not as easy because the rings are there. So we're going to look at swapping the shoulders while baby's there and you can feed. So all I'm going to do is again support the bum, lift that top ring and loosen it off just enough. I'm supporting baby's weight now with my hand. Okay, a bit more. And I'm going to put my hand underneath here so it's off my shoulder. And I'm going to put baby into the cradle position again. Okay. And then push my hand under and just do a wee wiggle. Take your time, depending on the fabric you've got and what you're wearing, it might take a wee moment. So now I've swapped my shoulder sides. And he's having a look, so he's not going to have a feed now, but you just same again. So if you feel like you need to tighten up, you can pull your rings and tighten up. So baby's in position, hands would cup the breast, free and clear, support baby. You can, if you like, bring the fabric over your shoulder and then up to give it a wee bit more support. And then once baby's finished feeding, you reposition it again. So I'm going to bring this shoulder down first. Take your time. Baby back into position. So I'm holding them just now. And then I'm just going to scoop my hand back down there and bring my rings back up. So you will have to do a lot more manoeuvring once your baby's back in position to make sure everything's back in place. So any slack from the back, under the bum to the rings, and again the front. So you'll get used to how much you need to slack, slacken off to get your arm through. Okay. And back in position. There we are. So when feeding in any sling or carrier, always reposition after a feed to have baby back upright. That will help with digestion and help with any reflux if they have. Keep a hand on their head to support their head so they can latch on and off at all times, and always retighten anything you've slacked off. Put slack into as well, and enjoy feeding. You say ta-ta? No? So again, if you need any help or support or further advice, you can contact me on my Facebook page, or you can contact Clan Oscha or the Oscha website for any more support and help. You say ta-ta now? Thank you.